Hi Glenn,
Hello there.
thank you for being interviewed.
You're welcome.
So tell me about yourself, what do you do?
Well, I'm a hypnotherapist and I have been for 20 years. I still see clients now and again, but not as much as I used to. So when I started, I used to see up to 25, 30 clients a week, and that would be for all kinds of stress-related anxiety issues, that kind of thing, weight loss, stopping smoking. Before that I was a musician, so I used to play in bars and clubs. And so later on in my career, my hypnotherapy career, I started making hypnosis recordings, which I sell on iTunes, on the App Store, on Amazon, and so really that's what I do now. I sell hypnosis recordings. I also write books. I've written 7 self-help books, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So a musician to hypnotherapist to now making recordings and writing books.
What is hypnotherapy? Like, people sometimes have a big fear about, oh, someone's going to change their mind and they're going to turn into a sheep or something.
Yeah,
so.
I mean that perception comes a lot from TV shows that show hypnosis in that way. So, you know, you see the stage hypnotist clicking his fingers and somebody doing something outrageous. And, you know, that is very real. What they're doing is real, it's not faked, but it's a different kind of hypnosis. You know, the whole setup is different. And when the stage hypnotist does that, he's looking for the small percentage of the audience members who are very susceptible to that kind of hypnosis. You know, and there's an element of compliance involved as well. So it is real, but it's very, very different to what I do, which is, you know, in this setting, I'm in my hypnotherapy practice room now. You know, somebody will come to me with a phobia or a weight loss issue, and I will, you know, through a gentle hypnotic induction, find out the root cause of the problem, and, you know, use hypnoanalytics to kind of find out what's at the heart of it and change the pattern of behaviour. So it's stage hypnotist is one thing, it's done for entertainment, and you know, that's often mistaken for what I do, which is hypnotherapy. It's using hypnosis for therapeutic reasons. So yeah, that's the kind of distinction I always make.
So you've sold a lot of self-help books and audio books. Do you think there's a big demand now for self-help? Like, are people going through more crisis and stress these days?
I think so, because, you know, in this day and age, you know, there's a saying that we make more decisions in a week than our grandparents made in a year, and that comes through, you know, having a lot of opportunities, you know, through the internet, and you know, that's opened up a whole world for, you know, certainly for the younger generation. You know, when I was a kid, you left school and you went off and you know, went to the job centre and looked for things. But, you know, nowadays you can start things up on your own, and, you know, people on YouTube are making an income from videos they post. So there's a lot of opportunities in the world today, but there's also a lot more stress, because with with making more decisions, there comes more stress with that. And, you know, so yeah, my kind of work and my recordings, they help people when, you know, they've tried all other things. They might have gone to the doctor for, you know, because they've got stress-related issues, but, you know, most problems can be solved from within. You know, if it's an anxiety issue, you know, you can change your inner state to help deal with the symptom and the problem. So yeah, I think the world is kind of opening up to, you know, looking for therapeutic help for various things.
So how can we, like, manage all that stress and tone down the amount of choices we have?
I mean, the way to manage it is to, you know, to make time in your day to kind of switch off. You know, it's so easy to sort of carry on, you know, working and being busy and, you know, being on social media and, you know, even watching telly. That doesn't really relax you, because you're just, you know, you're being bombarded with information. So the best way to really de-stress is to say, right, I'm going to take 20 minutes out in the middle of the day to just close your eyes and completely shut down, you know, so clear away any conscious thoughts and just go into that really centered, still space where, you know, your creativity resides, and, you you feel at peace with yourself and the world around you. And meditate, even 20 minutes meditation in the middle of your day can really change the way that you'll cope with the rest of the day, because it's kind of like a reboot. And they say that Margaret Thatcher, she used to sleep for 4 hours at night, but in the middle of her day she'd do 20 minutes of wind down time, and whether you like her or not, she got a lot done. So I'm not particularly a fan, but it's just an example of the way that she got a lot of things done, but she just made that time to sort of switch off and get in the zone. And I kind of do it as well. If I've got a really busy day going on, where I'm making a lot of decisions, I'll make that time just to wind down, in the middle of the day and kind of reset.
Have you ever thought about trying to hypnotise people to be vegan?
That's an interesting question. It's something. I mean, I became a vegan a couple of years ago. I was a vegetarian for quite a long time, and then I saw a couple of posts online about the dairy industry, and not that I still didn't drink milk for a long time, but I'd have cheese and that kind of thing. But then when I looked further into it, and you see the cruelty that goes on in the, with cheese and the dairy farming and chicks being ground up and all that kind of stuff. And so I made the decision a couple of years ago to go completely vegan. And when you make that switch, it's suddenly like a light bulb moment goes on, and you see how cruel and how backward that whole dairy industry is. And so you become quite vocal about it. You become quite passionate about telling people about what they're eating is there's so much cruelty involved in how that got on your plate. But people are being people, they don't always listen to you. They need their own sort of wake up moment, like I had, like many others had. And just telling people is not the way. And so using my hypnotic skills to get people to turn vegan, it's crossed my mind, but no, it's not. You can't really make somebody do something if they really don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So I tend to post stuff out on Facebook, about animal cruelty. I did a post today that was about how lambs are taken away from cows, baby cows. Baby cows are taken away from their mothers, within half an hour, and the grieving process that the cows go through. So when you post out a video like that, 100 people might see it, and 2 might be impacted by it, and they might wake up from it. So I prefer to do things that way, a bit more subtle. And hypnosis is something I use it for therapy, and that's it.
The last book you did was The Law of Attraction. So can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, that was called The Answer, and it is about the law of attraction. And I find with the law of attraction, when I was a kid, I really struggled in life. I had a very dysfunctional, messed up upbringing, and I was all over the place. Up until my sort of late 20s, when my son was born. I was very messed up. Drank a lot when I was young. Took drugs. Got into all kinds of problems, and I kind of attracted into my life a lot of other kids that were the same as me, messed up and dysfunctional and little tearaways. But later on, when I started to sort my life out a bit, I got into therapy and started to, fix a lot of the dysfunction in me. Something changed within me, and I kind of was on a better path. And I found that I'd attract into my life people that were more congruent with where I was at. And I think that's it. When your vibrational energy is at a certain point, you'll attract people of a like mind. And I think, even with the veganism thing, that when you're on that path, it's amazing how people come into your life that are on a similar path. And on a very subtle vibrational level, you're attracting that towards you, because that's what you're emitting. And the greatest minds that have ever lived have kind of said that, everything's about energy in the universe. People like Nikola Tesla and Einstein, they were so vocal about that everything is energetic, and what we're emitting out there is what we're going to attract back into our life. And kind of when I realised that, it was a real wake-up moment for me in my life, and so I started to meditate on the things that I wanted to attract into my life, so that I was really projecting out those, positive energy from me, from deep within inside me, and little by little my life became more and more successful, and to a point now where I've written 7 books with a major publisher, with Orion McGraw-Hill in the States. And I was a kid that was expelled from school when I was 15. I was told I was no good, hopeless. But reprogramming from inside, the hypnosis, hypnotherapy, and the law of attraction transformed everything in my life, and that's the key. And it's also important because your vibrational energy is really important, and I really think every spiritual teacher will tell you, every great spiritual teacher will tell you that being vegan and not being part of the cruelty industry is a really important way to raise your vibration and your energy. And when I meet other vegans, you can almost see it in them. I'm meeting you today, I could see that in you. It's there's a difference. Some people are lighter, their energies are lighter, and it's not a conceited thing, but it's just you're not part of this cruelty that the masses are involved in, and holds them back, even though they don't realise it. So I think that's important.
So you talk a lot about the energy. So maybe do you believe in like the turning point, the tipping point of like if we get enough vegans emitting like positive energy and like all these healthy vegans about, you think maybe that will like increase the amount of people that turn vegan?
I do, I really do, and I think that's happening already, isn't it? There's more and more people that are turning vegan, and I saw a stat a little while ago that in America it's hugely on the increase. It's more on the increase than any other sort of, not diet form, but any other pattern in the food industry, and so it's happening already. And Carl Gustav Jung, who was the great psychologist and hypnotherapist from Freud's time. Freud is the one that everyone knows, but Carl Gustav Jung, he had this sort of spiritual wisdom that maybe Freud didn't have, and he talked about the collective unconscious, in that we're all, as a human species, we're all linked up, and when enough of us learn something, or have that sort of spiritual understanding, or that light bulb moment, then others get it as well. They pick up on it, and so as more and more of us turn vegan, then that's going to impact the rest of humanity, and that is happening already. So
sounds exciting.
Bring it on.
Because most people think veganism is quite extreme. So what's the most extreme thing you've done in your life?
I've done a parachute jump. I've done 2. I did a solo parachute jump and a tandem one. I've done 4 or 5 fire walks where you walk across burning coals.
Yeah.
And again, that's getting into that positive mental state, and getting so psyched that you can walk across burning hot coals and it doesn't impact your feet, or you don't feel it. That's mind over matter. And I love those kind of challenges, and I've done it with people as well that were petrified at the start, but working with them and helping them to use the power of their mind, they've done it and sailed through it. Done a number of ayahuasca ceremonies.
What's that?
That's the South American shamanic ceremonial thing ayahuasca is the combination of a vine and a plant that, when mixed together, creates ayahuasca, and it's indigenous to places like Peru and various places in South America. And when you drink it, it's like in a ceremonial setting, you go on a journey, and the journey takes you into your shadow energy. So the kind of deepest, darkest realms of yourself are highlighted and exposed. And for me, when I read about it in Sting's biography, and he did a ceremony down in South America with the shamans down there, and it kind of fascinated me when I read about it, and I was really drawn to it. And the shamans say that you're drawn to the medicine calls you. And so I did a couple of ceremonies, I did about 4 or 5 ceremonies a few years ago, and each one of them was fascinating and really powerful. And you know, they're not for the faint-hearted, because you do go on a hallucinogenic journey as well. But I honestly think with that, you're seeing things that are real. You're traveling to higher dimensions, and you know, you're getting the knowledge and wisdom from these dimensions and from the plant's taking you to places. And also, when you see the darkness and the shadow part of yourself, it can be quite heavy going, because you know, these are things that we need to, you know, purge and get rid of, and you know, or come to terms with, and move on from. And so yeah, so that was a fascinating journey. Yeah, ayahuasca.
Do you have any tips for people that want to go vegan?
I think the thing to do is look at videos on YouTube. Yeah, that's the thing that's turning most people into vegan, because when you see what goes on in the dairy industry and the meat industry, and how cruel and barbaric it is, you know, once you realise, as Paul McCartney said, if abattoirs had glass walls, we'd all be vegetarian. And you know, when you actually see what goes on, that would turn anyone vegetarian, vegan. You know, maybe vegetarian to start with, vegan's the next progression. You know, because once you see what happens, you have to be compassionate, and you have to take that step. So yeah, you know, let's just keep spreading the word. And you know, brilliant that you're doing these interviews and you're going to put them out there. More and more people are going to see it, and you know, it sounds like you've got a diverse collection of people that, you know, are going to be talking about it. So good for you, and it's a brilliant thing. So
all right,
excellent.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.